it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Especially when you're like, I want to say single parent because their dad really doesn't come around. So.
He's the first guy?
No, he's the father of my kids. He raised my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
He raised my two oldest, and then the two little ones are his.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you have 4?
I have 4.
What?
I know.
I would never guess that.
And you should see my son next to me. He's like taller than me. And he's like, we go out and is that your boyfriend? I'm like, no, that's my son.
Everyone's taller than us.
I know.
All right. So the purpose of this is what we went over, but also for it to be genuine, for it to be real. And at first, when we start, it's gonna be hard to open up. And you can open up as much as you want. This is however you want it, okay? But the purpose of it is to be real, to be genuine. So that way, when others are in hope, in need of that strength, they see this and they can feel you and they can feel what you went through. And then they can say, I'm going through something like that. And if she can do it, so can I. So the more real it is, the more it's going to make an impact on the community of who we're trying to reach out to. Okay, so if you feel like crying, don't be embarrassed, don't feel sad, don't just you be however you want and you be in your moment. Okay. And you don't need anything else before we start?
No.
Okay, that's close enough for you to reach?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right, so this is Tóxicas clothing, now broken, rebuilt, and we're going to be going through the testimonial questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, so first, before we begin, can you introduce yourself and share what being a tóxica means to you today?
My name is Diana Cervantes. To me, being a tóxica, I would compare it to Survivor.
Okay.
I think that's the best word I would describe it.
Next question. If you had to describe your journey in one word before your healing, what would that word be?
I would say hopeless.
Okay, we're going to go into the toxic experience. What was a toxic environment, relationship, or situation that had the biggest impact on you?
The relationship that had the biggest impact on me, it was when I was 16. My daughter's dad abused me in so many ways, verbally, emotionally, sexually. It was hard. I was with them for 5 years. In those 5 years, I lived the worst experiences. To begin with, I didn't know much things about, I want to say sex. I didn't know many things about, relationships. I was a kid. I did leave my mom's house on my own. I thought I was right. I thought I had it all down. And I didn't. The abuse went for a long time. It got to the point that when I was pregnant from his daughter, he beat me. And he left me in a room with my son. My son at that time, he was 2 years old. And I couldn't move. I don't know how my son did it, but he was able to open the door, which had the 2 locks. The ones I had to kind of push on the door to open it. So to me, it was I was like, God loves me because I don't understand. And he went and he got help. I ended up at the Maricopa Hospital, level 1. I was there for about a week. I was in, when they took me in an ambulance, and it's true what they say, you see yourself when you're, everybody's experience is different, but I could see myself. I could see my mom crying. I could see myself laying on a bed, and I could see the nurses, the paramedics, putting all this stuff because I was dying. And I didn't. I prayed so much to God to at least let my daughter live. I was 6 months pregnant. And so when I was at the hospital, I was full of bruises. Doctors came in, they said, who hits you? When you go through abuse, it's not that you're covering up for that person, it's that abuse, it's something that controls you. So I said, nobody hits me. They said, you have bruises, you have scars, you're missing part of your hair. And I was like, no, nobody hits me. Why? Because I was threatened that if, I said anything, my sisters were gonna get abused. They're gonna kill my mom. They're gonna kill my son. Guns were pointed at my head. This man tried to sell me for drugs many times. So the abuse was bad. It was to the point that I had to listen. So if he told me, you're gonna sit there on the wall, like against the wall, and you're gonna wait for me right there, I would do it. When he got home from work, I had to know the exact time that he was gonna get there, because his food had to be on the table. If he didn't like the food, he'll throw it at me. If, let's say, maybe it was, I think, around Thanksgiving, I remember, he didn't like what I was wearing. So his cousins were there, and he decided to spit at me in front of his whole family. That's abuse. My hair being pulled, being told you're ugly, being told you're fat, nobody's gonna want you with a kid, because my son was not his. There was many times where I was abused, sexually abused, and we had one room. So I remember, I've never shared this with anybody, but I remember when that would happen, my son was little. So I didn't want him to see any of that. So I remember the closet door, it had came off. So what I would tell my son is, we're gonna have a sleepover, just me and you, and I'm gonna make you a little bed inside the closet, and I'm gonna put this door right here, I'm gonna put some blankets, and that was so my son wouldn't see it. So, and when I was being abused, I had to stay quiet so my son wouldn't hear it. And then to me, I think the hardest part was trying to find safety for my son. It was like I didn't know what to do. So what I did is I told my mom. My son will go visit my mom often. So I would tell my mom. One time I told my mom, sorry, um, you know what? Take him. I don't want him. And she said, what do you mean you don't want him? I'm like, take that kid from me. I don't want him. Like, I feel nothing for him. I don't want him. I'm not going to take care of him. Like, get him away from me. That was hard. But it was for his own safety. I slept with one eye open. And I remember I used to hug my son. And I used to put my whole hand and my leg over him. Because I was scared that this man would do something to him. So when I decided to do this was because giving my son to my mom was because he tried hitting my son one day. My son was still in diapers. And I remember he pulled him by his legs and he tried hitting him. And I said no. I threw myself at him. I said no. Do whatever you want to me, not to my son. He beat me for about an hour. I think, I don't know, it was just bad. You know, one time he took me to Gila Bend for about 6 months. I had no communication. I didn't own a phone. We were like in the middle of nowhere. The whole way to Gila Bend, from Buckeye to Gila Bend, he beat me. He was a lot bigger than me. And then one time, he said, get up. I don't have any more money for drugs, so you're gonna go sleep with this man. I begged him that I didn't want to do that. So we went, and the whole ride, I prayed to God. And I said, if you exist, please don't let him be there. And when we knocked, he wasn't there. He was so upset that he beat me. He beat me for another hour. And he went and he left me in the desert. I remember that I used to wear those long boots. And I remember I had a knife, a pocket knife. And when he left me there, it was nighttime. And I remember perfectly that I looked up at the sky and I said, God, I'm done. This is not the life that I wanted. To me, I thought love was different. And I still do think love is different. And I did try to end my life. I did try to commit suicide and I couldn't. I couldn't because I knew nobody would care for my son like I would. Due to all this abuse, this is something hardly anybody knows. And the reason I'm going to share it is because I feel like I'm not the only one going through it. So, besides the abuse, he would make me use drugs. You know, because he wanted me to be like him. He wanted, I don't know, I was a little bit lost in that. Like, I didn't understand why he would want that. I ended up using drugs for about 4 years, which was methamphetamines. I did cocaine. I smoked weed. I hung out with the wrong people for a long time. And this is the hardest part. It was something I want to share because I know a lot of women do go through this. My kids were taken away by CPS. And I think out of this experience, the hardest thing was being away from my son, from my daughter. Not being able to be with them, you know, their first words, you know, for my daughter. My son, every time I would see him, he would tell me, go away. I don't want you here. And that was when my son was, I want to say 4. And my daughter was a newborn. I did not see her until she was 6 months. So now, it kind of sucks that I have no pictures of her with me. There's no memories. She will ask me. And, you know, I'm open with my kids. They know what I went through. They don't judge me. I'm a different person now. But it was hard. It was hard, you know, getting their trust back. It was hard not have a saying in their lives. I had to go through family members. I had to get their okay. I had to do everything I was told. My son, next month, he'll be 18. And we're very close. We're very, very close. He's, you know, he tells me I'm his best friend. I have 4 kids. And this whole experience helped me to, you know, be more open to them. You know what their day is like. You know, any questions, like I want to be there. But until this day, it still feels like I missed out on so much. My son's gonna be 18. Last time he lived with me, he was 4. He's 18 now, practically. And my daughter's gonna be 15. And I've been in their lives, yeah. School, sports. But it's not the same. It's not the same going to bed and knowing your kids are home. It's not the same when you go to school and, you know, like, my daughter, she's a little bit lost. Like, she loves and adores my mom. And I've been sober since 2012. I could not take my daughter from my mom. That would be unfair. And not only for my daughter, but for my mom. Because my mom took her in, both of my kids. And my mom loved them unconditionally. She gave them everything. So the day I had the chance to go to court and, you know, fight for my kids, I couldn't. I spoke to my kids. They said, we love you, but we can't leave my grandma. I didn't take that from them. They didn't. I'm probably gonna be judged. I'm a bad mom. I'm not. I was a kid myself. I didn't ask for any of this. I myself, I was lost. I didn't know. I was confused. And unfortunately, I have to live with this for the rest of my life because, there's a lot more that I can't share because I don't remember. Because the trauma was so bad, the abuse was so bad that I don't remember part of my life. I try to remember, and if I do get a flashback, it's painful. I can have a flashback, I could be doing whatever, and it'll hurt. It feels like, I don't know, it's like your head starts feeling confused, like if you were going crazy, like it's too much, and it's just one memory.
When you were going through that situation, at what point did you realize that something wasn't right? When it started affecting your health, your emotional health, mental health, your physical well-being, when did you first start noticing that?
I noticed something wasn't right in this relationship the moment that he put his hands on me. Why? Because I am from Mexico. And when we came here, my dad had passed away. And my dad, he used to beat my mom. So we came over here for a better life. And my mom always told us, nobody puts their hands on you.
So you've experienced domestic abuse, or witnessed domestic abuse as a child growing up?
I didn't necessarily witness it. I was still baby.
Oh, okay.
I was still baby. I did know a lot about this only because my sister, my oldest sister, she would always tell me, like, nobody puts hands on you either. I was very close. I'm very close to her. And, once I hit a good age where I could understand, she told me everything. So, to us, a man or anybody putting their hands on you, it was a no.
Yeah.
So, the day that man put his hands on me and he locked me in a garage, I knew something wasn't right. It didn't feel okay.
I think you had said this earlier. Excuse me. I think it had something to do with your kids. What was the hardest part of being in that toxic space?
To me, the hardest part of being there in that relationship, that toxic relationship, it was my kids. I think as a mother, when you're a mom, you don't think so much about yourself. You think more about your kids. It's like, like, I'll take it, but not my kids,
Yeah. Did you ever feel stuck? And what made you feel like you couldn't, if you did feel stuck, what made you feel like you couldn't leave or change the situation at first? So did you ever feel stuck?
I think I felt stuck because being threatened with my family, and I was always taught from my mom, from my oldest sister, family is everything. family first. So being told, if you leave, your sisters are gonna be abused. If you leave, I'm gonna kill your mom. If you leave, your son's gonna pay for it. So to me, I had nowhere to run. I had nowhere to go.
So for your turning point, what was your breaking point? The moment you decided that you deserved better?
Give me just a sec. I remember one day when he came home and he hit me. And he had pulled out this whole part of my hair. Like literally this whole part. It had a bald spot. And I remember I went to my mom's house and one of my sisters, she was little. She was maybe about 10. And she has lupus. So she goes through a lot. And when she opened the door and she saw me, she started crying. She said, "Who did this?" And she was crying. So to me, that hurt because I was supposed to be her role model. And with that, it was also, every time I went to my mom's house, my son telling me, "Leave. I don't want you here. Grandma, tell her to leave." It was just everything that came from my family. It hurt me so bad that I said, "I don't want this." You know, it got to the point where none of my family members talked to me. Nobody talked to me. But in reality, nobody understood. I think, so pretty much everything that had to do with my family is kind of what made me say, "I'm done. I have to do something." Yeah. And I remember the exact day that I left. I remember I was sitting in front of the TV and I was going through the channels, and then I seen this one channel. I don't recall which one it was, but I think it's called Enlace. It's a Christian channel, a Hispanic Christian channel. And I remember seeing this one singer, and I remember her really good. Her name is Marcela Gándara. And I seen all these people, praising God, and I said, one day. And I remember that day, my ex, he got home. I had all his stuff ready, his towel, his clothes. And I said, today I'm leaving. But I'm not gonna leave the same way I always leave. Because when I would leave, he'll pull up with the car, he'll throw me in the car. People will see it, nobody did anything. So this time I said, I'm taking a different route. I'm going through an alley. I'm not embarrassed to say, I grabbed money from his wallet. I grabbed his phone. because I did not own a phone. And I left. I went through the alley. I remember there was like 4 pit bulls in that alley. And I was so scared because they were barking. They were barking at me. And I had always been scared of dogs since I was little. So then I said, one of the two. Either these dogs are gonna kill me or he's gonna kill me. And I'm not gonna let him. So I walked through that alley and all I did was pray. And I said once more, if you exist, let me go home. Help me. I walked right through the dogs. They just stared at me. And I left, never looked back.
Yeah. I think it kind of tied into your story. Who or what gave you the strength to take the first step towards healing and leaving? I think you had mentioned your family and church, was it?
Can you repeat again?
Yeah. Who or what gave you the strength to take the first step towards healing or leaving that toxic environment? Who or what gave you the strength to take that first step toward healing or leaving?
So, for leaving that toxic relationship, what helped me the most, I think it would be God, my kids, my mom, my siblings.
Okay.
And that was a lot. They had a lot to do with my healing. Also, the father of my kids, he had a lot to do because he helped me. He helped me a lot.
Not the first one, but
Not the first one, no. It was this other guy I had met.
Okay.
He is the father of my 2 little ones.
Okay.
He helped me unconditionally. And his sister introduced me to a Christian church out here in Avondale.
So,
and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that was, I think God just touched me. He had a lot to do with my healing.
What was the first decision you made that started to change your life?
The first decision I made that changed my life, it was accepting God as my Savior.
Okay. And we're going to go to the healing and rise. What helped you heal or rebuild after leaving the toxic experience? So what helped you to rebuild or heal after you left?
I think the only thing that helped me, I can't even give myself credit for that. I have to give it to God. Because I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. I think he has a lot to do with this.
Okay. And then during your rebuilding and healing phase, what part of yourself did you regain or discover? So, at times when we go through these toxic situations or environments, we feel like we start to lose ourselves. So at what part of yourself were you able to regain or discover?
My happiness, I'm not gonna say it's been easy because it hasn't. I never got treatment for the trauma, for any other thing. It's too expensive. I've looked into it, but I regained a lot of my confidence, my happiness. I had always been a happy child. You know, I had always been the kid that would I always make my mom laugh. And until this day. And I had lost all of that. Um, so that and family.
Okay. Has your mindset changed since you overcame that chapter of your life?
Yes.
Okay. And how so?
Um, if it doesn't, I always say to myself, if it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not right. If it doesn't feel okay, it's not. And no questions asked.
Okay.
You just know.
And what does confidence look like for you now compared to then?
I think I'm able to do. So confidence now is I'm able to do things I always wanted to do, things I enjoy. Um, it's not as easy because there's still a lot of doubts here and there, but I try to make the best of it. I try to achieve as much as I can, and that helps me boost my confidence. Goals and so yeah.
Good. Good. That's a good answer. Now we're going to go into the message to women going through it now. What would you tell someone who is stuck in a toxic environment right now and feels like they can't get out?
What I would tell women. You can do it. You can walk away. And I know you'll be like scared. You'll say, I can't. He's gonna hurt me. He's gonna, he threatened with this. They're cowards. They try to put that fear in you. But you're stronger than what you think. You have it in you. As women, I feel like we have that strength. We just don't know it. Some of us don't know it that we have it. But God made us strong, smart. We birth kids. So if we're able to birth kids, can you imagine what you can do? You just have to find that strength within yourself.
Good. Good. And what do you want women to know about their worth and strength?
You're worth a lot. I believe God made us a certain way. When he made us, he knew exactly how your eyes were gonna be, how your hair was gonna be. And he put a worth in every single one of us. And if we're here, it's because we're worth a lot to him. And he's everything. So he sees us with eyes of love. So what will make anybody think they're not worth a lot? You have the strength, and your worth is it's a lot.
If a younger version of you was watching this video, what message would you give her?
For a younger version, can you repeat that one, please?
if a younger version of you was watching this video that you're making today, what message would you give her? So if she was watching this camera, what would you tell a younger version of you?
I would tell myself, it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna make you a better person. And you're gonna help a lot of people out there. A lot of women. So just hang in there.
Good. All right. We're going to go into the connection for Tóxicas, and I'm going to find my charger before my phone dies.
Okay.
I'll be right back. So, but that's the hardest part. So now we're just going to go into the business. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel?
Oh, it was hard.
It's hard? Yeah.
It was hard.
That's good. You did good.
It was hard because sometimes when I get nervous, I always tell my mom, every time I get nervous, I get this like accent.
You get an accent?
Or I forget how to say some things in English, and I'm trying to. I don't know why. I had always been really bad, and
you did good. You did good.
I think only one time I spoke in front of a lot of people.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that was in church when I had my own vision of helping people, and I had to come up with this whole plan about it and talk about it, and it was hard.
Nope, it's gonna let me.
To me, there was a lot of people.
Was that church?
Yeah.
Dude, church is rough.
And yeah, especially because I was like very young, so people look at you like, like her.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So let's see if we can finish this part quick. I got like 4%. All right. So connection to Tóxicas. Why did you choose to be a part of Tóxicas?
You know what? When I first heard Tóxicas, I thought, Tóxicas, everybody knows Tóxicas as like, crazy, jealous type of women. And when I read, the meaning of Tóxicas for this brand, it talked about women's strength. It changed the meaning of Tóxicas to strong women, empowered. So, about women that go through things, through abuse. So, it changed the whole meaning of being a tóxica, because usually, everybody uses that word nowadays, tóxica for this. But seeing it from another point of view, it was like, yeah, I want to be part of Tóxicas.
All right, awesome. How does this brand represent your journey or the woman you've become?
It represents it a lot. The first thing that came to my mind when I read it, and it told me, do you want to be part of it, was, wow, I'm going to be able to share something. I'm going to be able to help somebody. I had always, after my whole experience, I had told my mom, I want to do something so that I can help other teenagers, because those are new generations. So, I want to be able to help women, not only women, it could be men as well. So yeah.
Good. All right. And let's see here. What does sisterhood mean to you, especially for